Hey everyone, how's it going? I hope you're doing well. I'm doing pretty well today. I'm bringing you another tutorial for the F-16, and this one is going to be about formation flying and aerial refueling. So the first thing that we want to do here in the mission editor, as you can see, is set up our tanker. I'll talk you through how to do that real quick. So the first thing we want to do here is on this left side with all these icons, we want to click on the one that looks like an airplane. It says add or modify airplane group. Click on that. On the right side here where it says type, we want to click that drop down menu. Scroll down until we find our KC-135. So there's a few different types of tankers in DCS. KC-135, KC-130, KC-135, MIPers, and a couple others. The one that we need is the KC-135. This is different from the KC-135 MIPers here, which has the MIPers, the multi-point refueling system. I think is what that stands for. That's the one that you need for the like the Hornets and the Tomcats, the ones that have the probe on them. In real life, I'll just show you real quick. They do have the boom at the back here so that you can do both types, but for some reason in DCS we can't, so we have to use the regular KC-135. That's fine. We'll do that. Stick that in here. Let's put this at about 22,000 feet, I think. And we'll just set that there so you have a nice kind of long leg, about 20 miles. I'm going to drop this speed down to about 375. That's probably roughly typical, 350, 375-ish. We'll just leave it at that. And then we want to click Advanced Waypoint Actions, click Add, and click Orbit. Now there's a few different types to do. I'm just going to do Racetrack, adjust this speed again. And that's just going to mean that it's going to fly up to here, and then turn around, and then come back, and keep doing that until it runs out of fuel. But you can also set unlimited fuel, but it doesn't really matter for this because they have a ton. And if you wanted to, because it can be more difficult when it turns, if you wanted to just put it somewhere and just have it fly in a straight line for a couple hundred miles, you can just practice it with that. You can also do that. If you want to set TACAN so that you can navigate to it, you can do that. Just set this to 12, whatever. So that's good, and then we also want to put in our F-16. So we're going to go and find our F-16 here. I'll put it just a little bit behind it here. 22,000 feet, I'll just leave that there. We'll just do that. And you can put whatever stores on it if you want to. I'll just stick a couple drop tanks on here. I wish you could put the empty ones, but whatever. And I'll just lower this a bit. I like flying with drop tanks. It's hard in the F-16. It's harder to tank, I find, at least, when you're slick, so you have no stores or anything, because it's so fast, and you just do a little bit of throttle, and you can charge the boom. But anyway, I will talk about all of that stuff in just a minute. Oops, one more thing, this is important. You want to set the skill level to client or player. And just double check here what the frequency is, 251 megahertz. You could set this to easy comms if you wanted to, so you don't have to, oops, wrong one. If you didn't want to have to actually input a frequency, you could go over here in the mission options section. It looks like this little check mark. Find easy comms, easy communication, and check those two boxes. If you wanted to add wind as well, I'll just actually leave that on, or, to make it easier. If you wanted to add wind, you could do that. So we'll just do this, do some light winds, a couple knots here and there, different altitudes. So that's about it for the setup. I'll be right back once we are actually in the mission, and I will talk you through how to do all the stuff. Okay, one more thing before we get into the jet I want to talk about is the lights that you will see underneath the tanker, which will indicate whether you need to be move up or move down or move forward or move aft. Also on this page, in this manual, you can see the link right there, or just search for F-16C manual and you should find that. It's an actual manual. I think it's slightly abridged, but anyway, I digress. This will also show you the different colors on the boom, indicate if you need to go forward or back, but you can't see those from the F-16, so you don't really need to worry about that. You do want to focus on these lights though, because they'll tell you where to go. So it's fairly self-explanatory, but the U stands for up, the D stands for down, the F stands for forward, and the A stands for aft. So if the light here is moving towards, they won't all be illuminated at once, but if it's moving towards up, then you need to move up. If it's moving towards down, towards the D, you need to move down. Same thing, if the little bar is too close to F, then you need to move forward. And same thing, if it's too close to the A, then you need to move aft by, increasing or reducing your throttle and adjusting your stick. Another one here from the Chuck's Guides manual. I'll link that in the description as well. Definitely check that out. It's very detailed. Here's another image of it within DCS, and this is what it will look like. And we'll see that in just a second. But now we're actually going to get into the jet. So be right back once we're there. Okay, here we are in the jet over kind of north central Iraq, north of Baghdad, in our F-16. There's a tanker up ahead there. We are going to be rejoining with that. I've put in my frequency and my TACAN, though we're in easy comms and I can see the tanker, so I don't really need that. One other thing that I like to do is, I'm going to unpause it here, I'm going to come down here and I'm going to flip this switch, HUD DED/PFLD data switch up twice with a right click to DED data. Now on our HUD we can see our DED data, then I'm going to go to list and then 2, and then you can see our fuel there, which is our total fuel. So I'm going to slow down here and I'm going to contact the tanker. Oops.
Texaco 1-1, in field 1, request rejoin. In field 1, Texaco 1-1, proceed to pre-contact at 22,000 at 260.
Alright. So, he just said, Enfield 1, that's us. Texaco 1-1, that's him. Proceed to pre-contact at 22,000 at velocity 260. So that means at Angels 22, or flight level 220, or 22,000 feet, whatever you want to call it, which is the altitude that we are at just about, just a little bit up there. So that's his altitude, is what I'm trying to say. Velocity 260, that's our indicated airspeed that he's flying at, so we're going to be looking for that when we're rejoining. And one other thing that I'm going to do here is this switch here, our RF switch, silent, quiet, norm. In real life, they will set this, I think, to silent, not just quiet. And basically what that will do is it will stop our radar and all of our other systems from emitting things, basically so that we're not, irradiating the crew, because we're going to be right behind that tanker. We don't want to be blasting him with the radar, unless you want to, unless you get your kicks out of that. That's fine, that's up to you. For the sake of immersion, I'm going to put that silent. It means we're not going to be able to use our radar, but it doesn't matter because it's right here. Additionally, one control that we're going to need is air refueling switch open and close. I would recommend having a keybind for that so you don't have to look, but just in case, it is right here. Air refuel switch open close. The first thing I want to do here, though, is talk a little bit about form flying. And normally also what you do when you're tanking is when you join with the tanker, you're going to join up on its left wing, and then you'll slide into this position behind the boom, say ready pre-contact, do your tanking, and then you're going to reform on its right wing. So, V-brake out here, going to slow down. Now, there is only so much that I can teach you about tanking in any aircraft because it's hard. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, it's really difficult. Formation flying is very difficult. What I would recommend is setting up a mission like this, just joining up on the tanker and practicing flying. You want to be making constant little movements with your stick and your throttle. Hold the position as well as you can. But it's difficult. So be patient, take deep breaths, wiggle your fingers and toes, get some feeling in them, and open our slipway. Show you where that is. That's that right there behind us. So we're going to come over here and then drop back a little bit, slide into position, When you open the air refueling door, it basically limits your flight controls in the same way that it does in landing mode, i.e. when you have your gear down. So it will limit the angle of attack you can do and make it a little bit more sluggish and less snappy, but that's what you want when you're tanking. Sometimes I like to trim it out a little bit. I feel like my nose is coming a little bit high, so I might trim the nose down just a tiny bit. Stay ready pre-contact.
Ready, pre-contact. Clear contact.
Now the principles of flying formation and tanking are basically the same. It's just about tiny little movements. Because that's essentially all you're doing when you're tanking, is flying formation. I want to charge this. I'm going to pause it right here just so I can look up. So you can see our lights right here. You can see this triangle that shows that I need to move up a little bit because you want it to be right there in the middle, that horizontal line. And same thing, I need to move forward quite a bit so that I can get that right in the middle there. Take it slow. Nice. Relax your shoulders, relax your hands, everything. See those lights moving around. Thank you, tanker, for banking. Appreciate that. It makes it a little bit harder, but you basically want to just match that and kind of use the wings and your peripheral vision as the sort of your new horizon.
Contact.
Right there. Contact.
You're taking fuel.
Just keep an eye on those lights. Oops. Don't want to get into a PIO, pilot-induced oscillation. Nice and easy. Those lights. 9 if you like that as needed. Trying to get a sight picture there on your screen and maintain that the whole time. Whoa, started some mistakes here. Relax. Nice and easy does it. I bet I'm gonna lose it here. Yeah, I lost it. Oh well, that's fine. Gonna get back into position. Slide forward a little bit. Move up a tiny bit. It is difficult to see the light sometimes, but you just see a hint of it if you look closely. Sun doesn't help when it's right in our eyes. Come on, today, sunshine. Sometimes they're a little bit particular about where you are.
Contact.
There we go.
You're taking fuel. Transfer complete.
Alright, there we go.
Disconnect.
Now we're just gonna check our right side. Reduce our throttle. Oops. Don't want to go too high up there. Just slide over here, close our slipway, and rejoin. And if we had a wingman who's going to be tanking too, we just hang out here on the right wing, wait for him to tank, and then he'd rejoin on our right wing, and then we could continue on the mission. But the real trick of this with formation flying and tanking, it's, be focused but relaxed. you really want to get a good feel for the aircraft to begin with, feel for your actual physical controls that you have, your HOTAS, and then practice it a lot. And just remember, you're probably not going to get it the first time, but eventually you'll just, you'll connect for a few seconds, and that'll feel good. Then you'll do it for a little bit longer, maybe get 1,000 pounds of fuel. And then maybe get a couple thousand pounds, and then eventually maybe be able to do it all the way through without losing it. I mean, I lost it there, and I was only taking, what, 4,000 pounds, something like that. But it's hard. It takes a lot of practice, but you will do it. We'll get there. Just persevere. But anyway, I hope this was helpful in some way. If it was, awesome. Consider leaving a like, subscribing. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to let me know in the comments. If you want to join the Discord, I would greatly appreciate that. We're trying to grow our little community there. Feel free to do that. Love to see you there. But anyway, have a good one, and I hope that I will see you in the next video.